what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jaime K. Back with my man McDonald Gene here for another episode of Two Really Dope Dudes. What's good, McDonald?
What up? How's it going, man? How's your week?
Yo, man, I've been good, man. It's been honestly, man, it's been tiring. You know, man, just the daily grind. I feel like with COVID-19, I feel like, man, I'm dealing with COVID-20. Like it's like more work every day, yo.
Right. Yeah, this week was a little slow. Not slow in the sense of like, the happenings in the world, but slow in terms of like day-to-day hustle and bustle. This was like my last week, in Fort Worth alone. So I came down to pick up the fam, which is great. Finally get to reunite with the family. But in terms of work and things like that, it's kind of like low key more than anything. One of my coworkers found out that his mom passed from COVID back in Nigeria, which was just heartbreaking, and 5 months prior he lost his dad. So it's just back to back. So just kind of speaks to the time that we're in. So it's a crazy time for everyone, really.
Yeah. Dang, that's messed up, man. And then I know like everybody is still on that quarantine, so it's not even like you can travel, to be back with the fam. Because I think Eddie was telling me how you gotta, if you fly to Kenya, you gotta stay in a hotel for 14 days, and then they can say, no, you need to stay in the hotel even longer. So, man, it's just, dying is bad, and then like in the midst of COVID-19, it just makes it a whole lot worse, man. So, it's prayers up for your boy, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man. But in COVID-19 world and COVID-19 news, man, we lost a giant. I believe it was it last night or this morning? I know I got the news this morning.
I believe last night.
Yeah, so yeah, man. We lost a giant, John Lewis, advocate, and just an overall good person. So to everybody watching right now, we want you to leave a comment, share, like, subscribe, whatever it is. But take this brief moment. We're going to pay tribute to John Lewis and then talk a little bit about him. But here's a video of him giving a speech at the MLK rally. And, man, his words were just so powerful. So peep the video.
I have the pleasure to present to this great audience young John Lewis, National Chairman, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Brother John Lewis.
We march today for jobs and freedom, but we have nothing to be proud of. But hundreds and thousands of our brothers are not here, for they're receiving starvation wages or no wages at all. While we stand here, there are sharecroppers in the Delta of Mississippi who are out in the field working for less than $3 a day, 12 hours a day. While we stand here, there are students in jail on trump-up charges. Our brother James Farmer, along with many others, is also in jail. We come here today with a great sense of misgiving. It is true that we support the administration's civil rights bill. We support it with great reservation, however. Unless Title 3 is put in this bill, there's nothing to protect the young children and old women who must face police dogs and fire hoses in the South while they engage in peaceful demonstration. In its present form, this bill will not protect the citizen of Danville, Virginia, who must live in constant fear of a police state. It will not protect the hundreds and thousands of people who have been arrested upon Trump charges. What about the 3 young men, Snickfield Secretary in Americus, Georgia, who faced the death penalty for engaging in peaceful protest? As it stands now, the voting section of this bill will not help the thousands of black people who want to vote. It will not help the citizens of Mississippi, of Alabama and Georgia, who are qualified to vote but lack a 6th grade education. One man, one vote is the African cry. It is ours too. It must be ours. We must have legislation that will protect the Mississippi sharecropper who is put off of his farm because he dared to register to vote. We need a bill that will provide for the homeless and starving people of this nation. We need a bill that will ensure the equality of a maid who earns $5 a week in the home of a family whose total income is $100,000 a year. We must have a good FEPC bill. My friends, let us not forget that we are involved in a serious social revolution. By and large, American politics is dominated by politicians who build their career on immoral compromise and ally themselves an open form of political, economic, and social exploitation. There are exceptions, of course. We salute those. But what political leader can stand up and say, my party is the party of principles? For the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam. The party of Jarvis is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protest? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police officials kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now. We are tired. We are tired of being beaten by policemen. We are tired of seeing our people locked up in jail over and over again. And then you holler, be patient. How long can we be patient? We want our freedom and we want it now. We do not want to go to jail, but we will go to jail if this is the price we must pay for love, brotherhood, and true peace. I appeal to all of you to get in this great revolution that is sweeping this nation. Get in and stay in the streets of every city, every village and hamlet of this nation until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 1776 is complete. We must get in this revolution and complete the revolution. For in the Delta of Mississippi, in Southwest Georgia, in the Black Belt of Alabama, in Harlem, in Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, and all over this nation, the black masses are on the march for jobs and freedom. They're talking about slow down and stop. We will not stop. All of the forces of Eastland, Barnett, Wallace, and Thurman will not stop this revolution. If we do not get meaningful legislation out of this Congress, the time will come when we will not confine our marching to Washington. We will march through the South, through the streets of Jackson, through the streets of Danville, through the streets of Cambridge, through the streets of Birmingham. But we will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today. By the forces of our demand, our determination, and our numbers, we shall splinter the segregated South into 1,000 pieces and put them together in the image of God and democracy. We must say, wake up, America, wake up, for we cannot stop, and we will not and cannot be patient.
That was a young John Lewis speaking at the March on Washington. Yo, man, I feel like he was speaking yesterday or today.
I think that was what most resonated with me is that his message was so timely for what's going on right now, and it's crazy that speech was given all that time ago. And it always struck me in the things that he always said, even when he was in Congress, and the way that he spoke. It was always with authority. It was unafraid, and he always said exactly what needed to be heard in a way that was so eloquent that even if you wanted to turn a blind ear, it was so penetrating that you had to pay attention to what he said. I don't think he'd get as much credit as he's really due, because you got to understand, and I think we took this for granted while he was around. He was in the mix of the people that were moving and shaking in the civil rights movement. Like, you can't talk about the civil rights movement without mentioning John Lewis.
Right.
You just can't.
Right. I mean, man, we were walking and talking with a giant, and man, and what's crazy is, man, Trump went after him, and Trump goes after Elijah Cummings and all these black people, but it's unfortunate that he can't see the how important and how powerful these individuals were, and that his presidency or his behavior reminds them of what they were fighting to get out of. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's just amazing to know that, as you stated, man, this was like over 50 years ago, and the stuff that he is calling for the government to do are the same things that we are asking for the government to do. We still fighting for the same exact things.
Yeah, I think that the lessons that we can learn from John Lewis is that there is no change without sacrifice, and he wore the scars, physical scars.
Yeah.
That it took in order to get the progression that he fought for so long ago to happen in his lifetime. I think that, yes, we're not where we need to be, but you can't discount what has happened as a result of the work that he and others in his time did to try to see it through. And I think that for those that are on the front lines today, if you're not willing to sacrifice life and limb and body the way that you see some of the police brutalities happening on the front lines in these protests, then it may not be the fight for you. There are other ways to fight, but I think that what John Lewis and others did just showed just a monumentous level of sacrifice that we probably will never see again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, man, my heart broke when I saw the news. I was just like, it's unfortunate that he's dead. It's unfortunate that a family has to mourn. But on the flip side, we as a society, as a people, have his legacy to remember him by. I'm going to remember him as somebody who fought for the privileges that I have right now. And I think that's what always, and that's what bothers me about people who don't vote, particularly black people. Like, people, like you said, sacrifice their lives, their jobs, for us to have the opportunity to go to the polls and to exercise our right to vote. So, man, it's just, it's a heavy day. And just want to pray for the family and for, all of those who were connected to John Lewis personally.
Absolutely. I think you said something that, I don't want to, skate over. Like, yes, we lost the physical man, but you can't kill legacy.
True.
You can't kill an ideal. You just can't do it. So while Trump may try to tarnish the man, you can't kill his legacy, no matter how much you try to sweep it under the rug. The things that he stood for and the things that he fought for will resonate for generations to come, long after he's gone. So for that, I think I'm satisfied in knowing that we still have the mantle, have to take up the mantle of the race that he was fighting. And I think that that's exactly what you're doing in your own way. So, I'm at least at peace knowing that.
Facts. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Same to you too, man. You in the struggle too. Like, somebody said this to me one time, and it always sticks with me. And it's like, they said, man, imagine yourself at your funeral, right? Like, you are at your own funeral. What will the people who are asked to speak say about you? And so, like, I always keep that in my mind. It's like, God forbid, whenever I die, like, I want when you do my eulogy or when you share comments about me, make sure, I want to ensure that the life I live will be reflected there, so that people will say, yo, he wasn't perfect, but he tried to fight for equality. He wasn't perfect, but he did that. So like, that's always in my mind. Like, what would somebody say if you were at your own funeral?
The best eulogies are the ones where you don't have to lie, right?
Yeah. Talking to a pastor, right?
You don't have to make up, accomplishments of things. I think, the selflessness that it takes to be a warrior in that space, it already speaks so much volume about who you are and the man that you are. I think in John Lewis's case, and there's so many countless others, they don't have to necessarily think about what people are going to say, because they know the work that they've done speaks to the fact that the fabric that they're cut from is a little different than the average man.
Yeah.
And so when you live a life of service and you live a life of sacrifice, you won't have to worry about what people say, because the truth is indisputable. So
right.
I think you'll be good in terms of that when it comes to history. I got you. I got bars ready.
Facts. Or I'm gonna start paying people right now. Like, yo, you gonna speak at my funeral? I'm gonna slide you a nice little check. It's like, don't cash it until I die, though. It's like something like that. But yo, man, speaking of John Lewis, right? Speaking about injustice and the things that he was fighting for, we're still fighting for today. There was this article that you pointed my attention to, and I'm gonna show you the picture of it. And here is, these cops, and they are there washing the feet of, I believe, Black Lives Matter protesters and some organization or whatever. So, yo, McDonald, what do you think about that? Cops kneeling and washing our feet. Get them.
First of all, so when I posted this article on my page, and somebody made a joke, and they said, "First of all, don't touch my feet; I'm ticklish." But it goes back to what we've talked about for so long, right? These moments of symbolism, or these murals, or these they feel like pacification acts.
Yeah.
Get people to say, well, oh, look at what we're doing, without really doing anything to affect change.
Yeah.
And like, well, you know what, man, they did wash our feet yesterday, so we could fall back. We don't got to march anymore. But laws aren't changing. Cops, the killers of Breonna Taylor still roaming streets. I saw a video of one of the cops from George Floyd's murder, was at Walmart shopping and got confronted, and I guess he thought that the lady wouldn't recognize him or whatever. She put him on blast.
Yeah.
And so look, I think that kind of stuff is weird to me. I don't know. I don't subscribe to that. I wouldn't be cool with that. And I don't even understand why the Black Lives Matter protesters even agreed to that. I don't get it. I don't see what it accomplishes. It doesn't show a sign of humility to me, because I get what they're trying to mimic. But if you really are down for change, then you need to be just as loud as you are on your knees, and yelling about the change that we're seeking. Yeah. That's laughable to me at best.
Yeah. I'm the same way too. I'm like, okay, you washing my feet. That's not going to stop a cop from shooting me 5 minutes later. He going to shoot me with clean feet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and this is what's problematic on the other side of that, as you highlighted already. Why would the Black Lives Matter protesters agree to something like that? And I think it goes back to, sometimes we as Black people are just way too forgiving, or way too quick to capitulate to the moment, instead of keeping our eyes focused on the movement. Now, they may continue to protest, but I'm with you. Like, the media loves pictures like that, because they try to find the roses in the story, the feel good story. But in this climate, we don't need feel good stories, yo. We need change. We need policy. We need to see a difference, because, as you said, it is not changing the system.
Right. So
yeah, you hear me? Yeah, you kind of froze for a minute.
Okay, so it reminds me of those videos that you'll see online sometimes where a cop is dancing, doing some dance with like the neighborhood kids, or
Right,
playing ball with
basketball,
kids, playing basketball. That crap means nothing to me, because a day from now you'll be right back on the same block laying down one of my brothers and sisters.
Right.
So I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Until you're willing to speak out against injustice, until you're ready to affect change for real, that stuff is symbolism to me, and it's crap.
Yeah, and I have, and maybe people may say I'm mean or whatever, but I have this theory, like, I don't believe in giving people credit for what they are supposed to do, right? Like, you being a good citizen and playing basketball with the kids in the hood and whatever you're doing, being a good cop, I should have to give you credit for being a good cop. It's like me.
First of all, you should live there in that neighborhood,
right? To
really understand those people. Don't come in, do a dance on video, and then it goes viral and think all is forgiven. No.
Yeah, it's like somebody saying, at least I take care of my kids. What do you want me to give you, a trophy? You supposed to take care of your kids. At least I ain't go to jail. Bruh, you're not supposed to go to jail. So,
But why do you think that is, though? Like, do you think it's a derivative of Christianity, where we are always so willing to turn the other cheek and forgive? Like, we're the only race that I know that are always encouraged to rush to the forgiveness aspect of it without any action or direct change of what we were seeking. We're always, well, why are you still holding on to slavery? Well, why are you still holding on to segregation? Why are you still holding on to redlining? And why are you still holding on to all these things? And they want us to rush to the forgiveness aspect of it. Like, why is that? What do you think that is?
So I would say, man, I don't really think it's just black people. I think Native Americans are very forgiving as well. How I want to put it is like this. I think that I think everybody is forgiving apart from and I don't want to say all white people, apart from the colonizers and apart from the conquerors, because like the way my theory is this: to treat somebody less than a human, you have to become less than human. And I don't think that's in the DNA of other races and other countries, of other people. Like, they don't do that to each other. Now, you may go into history and see some other stuff where, like, what the Arabs did and stuff like that to the Africans and things like that. So I do think what you said, it does come from Christianity, that black people have been fed a Christianity that says, always turn the other cheek, which takes that text completely out of context. It doesn't mean what we've interpreted to be.
But Amy, break it down, Doc.
Nah, man, I think, man, when Jesus was doing that, man, he was telling you, take the matters back into your own hand. Like, take power back into your own hand. Because if somebody smacks you, you're expected to smack them back. Jesus basically saying, like, no, don't give them what they expect, but do something opposite of what then they want you to do. So Jesus wasn't really saying literally, somebody smack you, turn the other cheek. It was figurative. He's just trying to explain to them, you take the power back into your hands and don't give to your oppressor what they want from you. You find a different way to react to it. And so we've always preached it to say, oh, we must be forgiven and give the other cheek. Nah, Jesus was not preaching that. He's just telling you, yo, let me flip the way you think and show you how to take matters back. Let me show you how to do the pivot. This is how you pivot. This is how you move. But I do think Christianity has been fed to us to think that we must always be forgiving. But I also think that there is something inhumane about the colonizer, man, and just what they have done to so many different people, like the Native Americans, to the Caribbean, to the American. It's just like, bruh, where did you come from? Like, how do you think like that?
That's a superior complex. When you think that you are God's gift to earth, and you're better than everyone around you, you have this superiority complex, and that everyone should be subservient to you. And if you do something wrong, then they should be quick to just kind of be like, all right, well, that person didn't mean it. They're a better person. So we were watching this documentary last night of this trial that was going on in, I believe, somewhere in Georgia. and the father of this girl back in the day like lynched this black man.
Yeah.
Because I guess he was fraternizing with white women. And at the court hearing, they eventually convicted the white man. They eventually convicted him and so forth. And what was crazy to me was, and something happened recently too with John Botham's brother, I believe it was, that
when he hugged the
officer.
Cop. Yeah.
So after the trial, the sisters and aunts and all those people of the guy that got killed surrounded the lady who was the daughter of the killer, and they're like, well, let's love on her because her dad got taken away and whatever. And I'm like, why are we always the ones having to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're just human in a sense where we're not as like, okay, here it is, right? The young lady, when George Floyd was killed, she said something that was so powerful. And she said this. She said, white folks are lucky, or let's say America is lucky. Black people don't want revenge. Like, if we wanted revenge, we would be straight up AK-47, grenades, bazookas, Uzi. We'll be doing it. All we want is equality. That's all we are asking for. And I think that's just how we're wired. It's like, man, when it's a civil rights movement and people are marching, we don't tell white people you can't march with us. We be like, come on, be a part of us. But when they move into certain neighborhoods and they have their zip codes, they make sure black people don't come in there. It is like
it's written on the books.
Right. And so I think, man, our blessing can be our curse as well. So the blessing to be able to forgive and to receive people has turned into also our curse, that we have been so open and so willing to everybody, and they have turned around and taken advantage of us, and then we're usually left holding the bag.
Which brings us to this other conversation about something that happened recently with our brother Nick Cannon.
Oh, Nick. Yes, sir.
Brother Nick. Brother. What's crazy to me is that his thought process and the things that he speaks about are not necessarily new. Like, he's been on this trip for quite some time, as a matter of fact. Like, this wokeness that people are seeing, he's been on that for quite some time.
Yeah.
But what struck me this time about how things accelerated and happened so quickly in terms of determination and the firing and so forth. Well, let's put it into context. Can you talk through, I guess, what he said that got him in trouble?
Yeah. So I've been
after all of that.
Yeah. So I've been searching the internet. I've looked at so many different articles, Washington Post, Vox News, everything. Just not Fox, VOX, right? So everything, right? And I was looking for what did he say that was truly anti-Semitic, and he didn't say anything. It was Professor Griff from Public Enemy who made the comment about Europeans are not the real Jews, that the real Jews are black, and and just some. I'm just paraphrasing it. Nick Cannon co-signed it, right? So, and this was done. The actual podcast was done in 2019. It was released recently. People took it as him being anti-Semitic. People took it as a threat towards, Jews and dishonest. And you already know what happened. MTV, Viacom, which owns MTV, dropped Wildin' Out. And Nick Cannon had to come and apologize. And then I also read that his talk show that's supposed to be coming out has been further pushed to 2021. Now, I don't know if that's in relation to this, but it's kind of ironic how convenient they're pushing it to 2021 right after this incident. But truthfully, and I know I'm going to let you hit it for a moment, but we'll get back to it. I was really trying to find what he said was anti-Semitic. And I'll go into that whole conversation.
So a few things, right? So, well, one ironic thing is that he has a show on Fox, Masked Singer.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, Fox didn't let him go. They didn't fire him.
Right. You would think
interesting to me.
Right.
But two, what struck me about this, not at the fact that he eventually got fired, but how quickly the wheels turned for that to happen.
Yeah.
And then also how quickly he apologized.
Yeah.
And it's always baffled me, and I guess I don't know the history behind this and what's the connection between Israel and the United States, and what's that history that causes the United States to almost bend at every beckoning call that Israel, says. If someone says anything, and it even doesn't have to be necessarily anti-Semitic, it can be talking, like we could be having this conversation trying to get understanding and be labeled anti-Semitic because we don't fully understand the context of what that truly means. I guess I need to understand what the true definition of anti-Semitism is.
I mean, I think anything that any comment or anything that kind of threatens the livelihood of a person who is Jewish or of Jewish descent. So Jews face a lot of bomb threats. They're not a very loved people group in America, but yet still they benefit from white privilege, because a lot of the Jews that we see on TV, they have white skin. So in America, within the context, it's almost like I think some Jews don't consider themselves white, but at the same time, the system still works for them too. And they, there lots of them are politicians and things like that. But going back to your question in regards to what is America's fascination and fixation on Israel, is basically this, man. America, in my opinion, needed a country in the Middle East that they can be loyal to. Because you've got Iran, you've got Palestine, you've got all those other countries. So America is always going to be in bed with Israel. And, and just whatever goes on, that they're always going to bend over backwards and making sure that, nothing bad happens or nothing bad is said about Israel. And then also, too, there are a lot of Jews who are in power. And there are a lot of Jews who are involved in hip hop. Like, what's your man, Liar Cohen?
Lear Cohen.
The old boy that was the manager for NWA.
I know who you're talking about.
And then he started managing Eazy-E. There's a lot of Jews who hold powerful positions that black people
in entertainment,
in the entertainment industry, that black people, work for, and that they have. So Nick Cannon probably had to apologize because he has to get them checks.
His manager is Jewish,
right?
And so, from what I understand, they had a conversation, and I guess the guy had to put into context, I guess, what damage Nick Cannon, what he said really caused, or what type of hurt came as a result of what he said or how it was interpreted. Basically kind of like an educational moment, and saying, hey, dude, let me, you're my boy, but let me level set with you about why it's such a hurtful thing that you said or participated in the conversation. I guess as a radio podcast host, you can't even have the conversation of someone that thinks that way. Even if you're not, let's say he didn't even co-sign it, but he was willing to have somebody like that on his show.
Yeah.
Be an issue, which is why I think so many people that are black prominent folks stay so far away from Farrakhan.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And then, like, I was reading the comments, and honestly, Professor Griff didn't say anything that was incorrect. So there are, and anybody look this up, there's something called Ashkenazi Jews or something like that. And there's been a lot of conversation about the fact that the white Jews, or the ones that we see, are descendants from Europe. Like, they are from Germany, and then they settled in Israel, and they began to have families and spread and widespread. Because there are a lot of Jews who have different lineages in them, and so people are saying that these Ashkenazi Jews, which are prevalent and prominent in Israel, are not the original Jews. And I don't know, like there's a video, and I sent it to you, and you could probably watch it later, about Ethiopian Jews who are black Jews who are being oppressed in Israel because, you know, they were imported back, they were sent away, then they were brought back in. So it's interesting how this country is dead smack in the Middle East, or, you know, close to the Middle East, near Palestine, near Iran, near all these other countries. And most of the people look like they're from America or they're from Europe. And so it's interesting that instead of calling it anti-Semitic, let's actually talk about what's really going on. You know, how did these Jews that we see all the time become this look so European? How did they become? Because if we say, like, let's go back, we say Jesus was a Jew, and we say Jesus was black, right? How come these Jews don't look like Jesus?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was trying to find out what was anti-Semitic. I don't know if you remember Story of OJ, when Jay-Z was like, you know, that bar he had where, like, look how the Jews did it. They don't do something on credit. I forgot what the exact bar was.
Yeah.
And then
but he caught heat.
Yeah, he caught heat for that. Yeah.
About saying the truth, and that they really got bread.
Right.
It's like almost like offensive to say that they're rich. Bro, y'all are like, what, 2% of the 1% of the population, and own 85% of it?
Yeah.
Of the wealth? Yeah,
if anything, Jay-Z is like, I'm trying to be a Jew. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to secure riches. So I just think man, it goes to what we were talking about earlier, and in our previous shows, and what we always talk about. It's reasons like this that I believe that why black people need to own networks, or why black people need to own anything, so that they can have the freedom of speech. And even if Nick Cannon was out of pocket, even if Nick Cannon said something that wasn't accurate, it's still a safe space where he doesn't have to worry about losing his job. Because all they had to do, they didn't have to fight. Like, so Viacom is probably owned by Jews, right?
Right.
Probably. Viacom didn't have to fire him. They could have just, like, checked him and said, yo, we're going to put you in some diversity and inclusion classes. We're going to put you through this, and we're going to let you. But you
have to make an example. This was we're going to put you in your place, and also remind anyone else coming in after you that you will not ever utter words or participate in a conversation that includes this type of context, whether it's putting our lineage into question, you know, anything that has to do with that is basically going to be, you know, cut down at the knees. Yeah. So basically, I think that this was more so like a warning shot. Yeah. So you're not infallible. You're not above the law. We're going to, you know, we'll shut you down because we can do that. You know, we own everything anyway. So immediately, I think what gave me the warm and fuzzies about that, I guess the silver lining about this whole thing was, you know, Diddy came out, because, you know, Diddy owns Revolt.
Revolt, right.
He basically was like, yo, come home.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the ownership aspect of why we have to have our own. If we have our own, you don't have to ask permission. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to apologize for your thoughts. You can literally be 100% you. Can you imagine how many entertainers out there that have to walk on eggshells for fear of losing their jobs because they can't really truly speak?
Oh yeah.
You know, it just blows my mind. I don't understand it.
And it's everything, right? So even with pastoring, like my job, I'm beholden to the check, and so there are a lot of pastors who cannot honestly say what they want to say, because they know that if they get out of pocket, man, they're gonna cut you off. They're gonna remove you. They're gonna blackball you. And so I agree with you. And thank you to Puffy for stepping up. And here's the other thing that's crazy about Viacom. I think Wild 'N Out was probably their best, MTV's best show.
I saw a meme that said they're gonna have Ryan Seacrest hosting.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan Seacrest gets all the jobs, right?
Right. But the other thing too is, and I guess things are changing, but to see how quick and swift the action was in regards to Nick Cannon's comments about anti-Semitism, right? What they call it, anti-Semitism. Viacom ain't waste no time. They were like, oh, we got to get this darky up out of here. I mean, man, black people have been screaming about injustice for like years. And it's a slow walk, a slow conversation. It's not overnight.
Listen, this is the same network or conglomerate that refused to air commercials or anything that had to do with Breonna Taylor or George Floyd because they want to remain neutral. They don't want to rock the boat. They just kind of want to, play the safe route. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't expect any different from them. What happened to Nick Cannon shouldn't shock us. We shouldn't, our minds shouldn't be blown. And I think that his livelihood is tied to the machine.
Yeah.
And so when he apologized, it was based on his livelihood being tied to the machine. And so when we don't own our own, when we are relying on other folks to provide for us, you kind of have to walk that tightrope. And so we need more Diddy's, we need more Jay-Z's, we need more people like that has the resources that can basically, okay, they drop you from there, let's come over here, come home. Same thing I'll say I keep going back to the NFL and the NBA. The premier athletes in these leagues are black.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't have our own league still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I think that they know that, I guess the reason why they're so empowered is because they know we'll never leave. They know the mass majority of these great black actors in Hollywood will never leave. I have not heard or seen one prominent black actor come out and speak out against his firing.
Yeah.
Or advocate for him to get his job back. Not one.
Yeah.
Ask yourself why.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought the NBA. And so they're about to start the league next week down in Florida. And the NBA said that they're going to make sure that it has a Black Lives Matter theme. So the players can have Black Lives Matter's names on their stuff. So the players, right? They wanted to put like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and various people who have died. The NBA told them they can't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute.
Right. You can do what we want within the latitude of what we allow you to.
Exactly.
You understand? That's flexing of power.
Exactly.
That's flexing of power. Look, it's marketing, right? It's marketing for them. They want to show enough to say, "Hey, look, we're on your side."
Right.
Right. We know if we act too irrational, that it's going to cost our bottom line. So we'll do just enough to appease you. The whole ceremonial, action to show that we're doing stuff. The murals, the washing of the feet, that type of bullshit.
Yeah.
That stuff does not really do much. So they're going to do just enough so their dollars aren't hurt. But the minute that they try to do something with some true meaning behind it, putting names on a jersey, they shut it down.
Yeah, man. It's simply this, man. It's black people making their own table in the master's dining room, right? And so the master is saying, hey, y'all can eat here, but y'all ain't gonna use my fine china. Y'all can do this, but you can't do this. Because I think it's absurd.
The paper plates are off the counter over there.
Not even the Dixie joints. The cheap paper plates, the ones that you got to put like 4 of them.
Just flip. And you peel it, and there's like 100 of them stuck together. Get those joints. They're over there on the counter.
That's right. And black people up in there, they eating, man. We in the house now. But it's crazy, right? How you gonna do a tribute to Black Lives Matter, and when the players say, "Hey, I wanna put the name of this person who is the reason for the Black Lives Matter movement," y'all gonna be like, "Nah, fall back." So I agree, man. If we had our own league, if we had our own thing, then we can write our own rules.
Yeah, but I think when you have to decide, like, okay, so we just talked about John Lewis and the civil rights movement and those folks that were back then that sacrificed, that word again, sacrifice, right? Life and limb, livelihood, being thrown in jail, death. I think that this generation has not come to terms with what it will actually take in order to, you know, um, arrest change. I think that, we think that as long as we march, as long as we, whatever, that change is going to come. If we talk about the only language that they understand, right, and it's economics, if every player said, you know what, I'll pass on that salary, about to start our own league. Ice Cube already has a blueprint in place. He could really, expand that easily.
Yeah.
And I bet you if all the great players go to that league, I bet you that you'll start to see some things happening. But I think the issue that you're running into is also like with what's happening now. You're noticing some of these NFL players, these potential NFL players going to HBCUs versus going to these big schools.
Right.
They're sacrificing.
Right.
But you got used to living in these mansions, got used to living in, having access to all these dollars that the NBA and NFL throws their way, that they don't want to sacrifice anything.
Right. And then also too, man, like, with Ice Cube's league, I also know that Ice Cube was battling against the giants. And what I mean by the giants like Disney, ESPN, ABC, who didn't want to put his league on their networks. Like, I think when you caught the games, they were on some like FS1 or some little, the networks you be just like skimming through real quick.
Yeah. You hold the button down.
Right. But I agree with you. If the LeBrons, the Kyries, and all of those guys were just like, yo, we're not playing, we're going to go and give support to this, then obviously the sponsors are going to come as well. The networks are going to come too.
All you need is a LeBron and like, you only need like maybe 5 marquee players to leave, and the rest will follow. Because it ain't no league without these guys.
Ain't no league.
If LeBron today and Zion today, if those big names left today, there is no league. Everyone will follow suit. Everyone.
Fam, the best player in the league would have been like Dirk Nowitzki or the logo would be a layup or a 3-point shot. Yo, shout out to white folks, man, playing ball, man. They can hoop too. But yeah, man, the need to have our own, and so this is why I love social media, and I love like these platforms like the internet, because it's still free for us to be able to get our voices out and to do stuff, but we need to see the dollars follow. We need to see not just the bodies, but the dollars that come with it to help support something, and not look at it as whack. I was watching on Netflix, they got a documentary about Steph Marbury, and they were talking about his sneakers, like when he had went and made these $15 sneakers because he wanted kids in the hood to wear it. Man, shoot. He made the sneakers, and the black kids in the hood were like, yo, I ain't wearing no $15 sneaker. Don't nobody want to wear no Bobos, stuff like that. And I just think it's unfortunate sometimes that when we try to do our own thing, sometimes it's not other people bringing us down. We tend to bring down our own and not support as well. Yeah. So that's something that we need to reverse, and we need to find a different way to start thinking about how we treat each other, how we respect each other, and what we do for one another. So it seems like my boy McDonald he got frozen right now, so we're gonna give him a round of applause. I got some things out here. All right. And so we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties, but in the meantime, yo, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about what's happening in our society? What do y'all think about Nick Cannon? Some of y'all left some awesome comments here. Crystal Grayson, you're so right. Unfortunately, there are some players who are afraid of rocking the boat. Not everyone stood with MLK, Malcolm X for civil rights. Some people are okay with the way things are. And that's a crying shame that there are people who think like that and people who react like that. All right, we're gonna get McDonald back on the show, and all right, there we go, back up in it. Yeah, man. So I was just saying, I was just reading some of the comments of what some of the things the folks have been saying, and they're like, man, we're not gonna have nothing until we start having our own, and until we start figuring out a way to do group economics and making sure that we can start supporting our own and making sure that we can start doing the things that we need to do.
I think it's true. I think this journey of being a new business owner and seeing where the support is coming from and who's really supporting it. I think if you get caught up in that a lot, you won't succeed, because the truth is, at first we have to see other people believe in us first before we will support. It's like we can't support each other out of the gate just to say, like, look, man, I'm going to really put my dollars behind this guy or behind this girl because I really believe in what she's doing. We have to wait for somebody from the outside co-sign it first, and then, you know what I'm saying, then we'd be like, well, I can't afford this brand now because it's too expensive. Well, you didn't support it at first. So the people that can buy it, they can spend whatever on it, you know what I'm saying? So the price matches the people that can buy it. Yeah. I just wish that we were more consistent in terms of the support out the gate, because we will never get our own if we're kind of just sitting back and just watching our black businesses come and go and fail because we're not supporting them. And that's why a lot of times we end up not getting to our own.
Yeah. I wish that we would have, and let me say not we, let me just say for me, like, I wish I would have the same burning desire to go buy something from Nike as I would have to go buy something from Father Fresh or something from a black-owned business. Like, whenever it's a black-owned business, and it's how we think and treat each other is, we always giving each other, like, the side eye, like, I don't really know if I'm going to rock with it. So you talk about brands like Cross Colors, Carl Kanai, Fubu. And you look at a brand like Louis Vuitton, which has been around since the 1800s and still doing good. You know what I'm saying? Still doing great. And not only do whites buy their stuff, but black people buy their stuff too. And I'm not taking away from Louis. It's a great product. It's a great bag. But it's interesting to see how their things thrive. They have legacy. And Louis is going to still be around. But our stuff comes and it goes. And maybe that's something we got to talk about in another show, because
we should. Because we need to address that.
Yeah, what is it about our own and our stuff that we always approach with a lack of with distrust?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You heard, so Jay had a bar, or he had like a line in one of the songs where he talked about, "You won't catch me drinking Belvedere while Puff has Ciroc." Like. Right. I think maybe it's a mentality, and I don't know if it's because of, it's the level that we're at in terms of our finances, that we feel like the status symbol that comes along with certain brands is what really, it's marketing, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like at the end of the day, a cotton shirt is a cotton shirt, no matter who you buy it from. The only difference is what's written on the shirt. Yeah. That causes you to put the value on it. So if I put Father Fresh on the shirt, next to a cotton shirt that says Gucci, Gucci's worth more because it has the name Gucci on it. Right. But in fact, over time, they all will wither, they all will fade, they all will, you know what I'm saying? So I don't get what that mentality is all about. You know what I'm saying? We got to get to a place where, we give each other credence, or we are patient enough with one another. Let's say the product isn't at the level of what you think it should be. Right. But the more you support it, the more money can be put into it to build up the brand. Exactly. Right? But I don't think that we don't give our own people that much patience. We straight up say, yo, your shelves was empty. I came to the store. You had 3 products on the joint. You had toothpaste, duct tape, and rat poisoning. Right. You had nothing else.
Right. And rats. And actual rats. But,
and you had a bad attitude.
Right, yeah. And so Don L, man, he said, sometimes it's the experience in the marketing, and which I can agree with that at times the experience of trying to support black-owned businesses is not the same as when you're patronizing a white-owned business. But, some white businesses know, like Gucci and all of them, they know they need black dollars in order to survive. So they do what they have to do to make sure that they're getting black dollars. Like, so when they do something, they market to us really well, and they have a whole lot of money to make sure that they are getting to us. They're going to give our favorite rappers items. They're going to flood it in their videos. Be like, yo, wear this. They're going to, drink the Sprite, because they know black people sell stuff. When we wear anything, we sell it.
Can you imagine if LeBron James held up a black-owned soda or drink or anything? Can you imagine what that would scream? So on two hands, it's like I get what people are saying in terms of these athletes, they're trying to do the right thing by supporting Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. But I think it needs to translate into action as well. If you really do believe in the black movement and empowerment of black people, you need to start endorsing black products. You need to start, partnering with black companies to really push their products forward, because you do the same for these white companies all the time.
Yeah, man. I'm like that Issa Rae t-shirt, man. I want every black person to win, right? And I think that's what's important, because white people may be competitive, but they're making sure that everybody within that fashion world win, even contractors and the business they get. When, say for example, if we're contractors, right, and we're bidding for the same job and I don't get the job, I'm gonna make sure you get the job. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, yo, I know my man McDonald, he got a contract business. Yo, this is how I didn't get it. Let me pass it on to you. And I think sometimes as black people, we sometimes feel like we have to hoard it because we've never had wealth or we've never had it before. So we can't share it because there's not room enough for all of us to be flying in first class, if that makes any sense.
Listen, man, I learned something very quickly on this journey, in that successful people don't hoard information.
Right.
They figure out the cheat code and they pass it on to somebody else and be like, yo, you can replicate this. It's not as hard as you think. Looking from the outside in, it may seem difficult and impossible to get into this, but dude, it's really a few steps, and here are what the steps are.
Yeah.
If you asked me, what did I do to create the business that I have now? What steps did I take? It doesn't cost me a 10-minute conversation to put you on. At all.
Yeah.
Just like it doesn't hurt if you have a t-shirt brand. It doesn't hurt me if I share your post on my page.
Right.
Even though I sell t-shirts. Guess what? The people buying your t-shirts may buy mine too, or they may not, and that's fine too.
Exactly.
We don't think that way. We think, man, I got this space on lock, so if I let somebody else in, that means the market share is going away.
Yeah.
When in truth, it basically helps us corner the market when it's more of us.
Yeah, dude, it's like Instagram, yo. Like, it don't cost you nothing to follow somebody. But, people be stingy with their follows, yo. Like,
they'll follow, get your follow, then unfollow.
I'm like, yo, it's not coming out your pocket, man. You don't pay.
Listen, the best analogy I can use is if you go to the grocery store, right?
Right.
And you go down to the bread aisle.
Yeah.
The bread aisle is almost the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
There are 15 different wheat brands.
Yep.
15 different white brands.
Yeah.
15 bagel companies. And guess what? All of them sell.
That's right.
Every last one of them sell.
That's right.
Walmart doesn't say, well, we already got this wheat brand from Sarah Lee, so
right.
Yeah. One of the bread you can't post up here. They basically are like, yo, there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we're the only ones that think that way.
Yeah, and we feel like, yo, if I got customers buying my t-shirts and then they come and buy your t-shirts, then that's gonna take away from me. There's more than one black person in the world, right? And then,
dude,
it's like, man,
this isn't my brand. This is your brand I got on right now.
Right.
As we speak. You think this hurts, Father Fresh, because I have on your t-shirt? Like, yo, man, I probably should have worn this joint because I'm giving him like just a little bit too much airtime. I should really. I'm not thinking like that at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wish more of us thought that way.
Yeah.
More of us champion one another in our efforts. and we'd be in a better place. And then we would probably be able to pile our money together to get our own arenas, to get our own, you know what I'm saying, and really get these players out of these slave internment camps.
That's right. Yo, we need to get Don Murphy on the show, yo.
Yo, for real.
We need to get Don Murphy on the show because Don Murphy is in that European-dominated, European-dominated world of making men's suits. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he had to break down a lot of barriers and a lot of doors just to even get, his stuff out there, and he's killing it right now. But it's not just clothes, man. It's everything else, man. We sometimes we are our worst enemy. There ain't nobody else.
Worst enemies, man. We can't always say, "Yo, the white man holding me down."
Right.
We got to take some responsibility, for ourselves in terms of the things that we don't have. Like, we have our resources. We're all that we need. And I think that as long, when we realize that that's the case, we pool our resources together, we can do big things. But until we do that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, man. Yo, so, dude, man, this was a good show. Spent a good hour. We hit a whole bunch of topics. People that are watching out there, please, first of all, as we always want to do, we want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you for watching. I should have asked you to do this before, but you still have time. Hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching on. As a matter of fact, go over to YouTube, go to the channel. We just talked about it. Subscribing to the YouTube channel will cost you nothing.
Your bank account is gonna go down $10 if you do it.
That's right. It will cost you nothing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button if you appreciate what we're doing. As you can see, my dude McDonald is wearing a Raise Your Voice t-shirt. You can find those at raiseyourvoice.academy. All of the proceeds from the t-shirts go towards my nonprofit. Or maybe if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, you're not feeling them, here's the Cash App, Raise Your Voice, goes towards the nonprofit. It actually helps me. I should have put a picture up of the sinks that we've been installing in homeless communities and areas so that homeless people can wash their hands. So all that stuff costs money. You can help support that if you just drop $5 in Raise Your Voice. And then also too, McDonald, please talk about Father Fresh and you jumping over into the ladies, and you got some ladies athletic wear, and you killing it, man.
Yeah,
so talk about that for a little bit.
We're trying to branch out a little bit, man. So we definitely take care of the fellas with the t-shirts, hoodies, and the sweatshirts and so forth. But we also are trying to cater to the women as well. We got active wear, we got the tights, we got the sports bras, the Razorback shirts, and so forth. We got some pretty dope stuff on there, so you can check us out on www.fatherfreshstore.com. I posted it in the comments, so check us out.
Yeah, please check us out. Buy something, support black business, as we didn't intentionally want to talk about that, but we should always talk about it on every episode. And this is two really dope dudes, and we signing out until next week, same time, same place. Peace.